All right, class. Today we're going to learn about the general cooperative learning model. Do you know about the general cooperative learning model? That's so close! But don't worry, you can join us today on a learning adventure! Mia, do you know how many steps are in the general cooperative learning model?
Yes,
How many?
there are 6 steps.
Great job, Mia. Let's have our other friends tell us more about each step.
The first step in the general cooperative teaching model is to introduce the task. And this is done by simply using a graphic organizer, presentation, lecture, any sort of artifact like the video we are making today to state what the class is going to look like and introduce the task that will be completed. After this, the teacher will connect the relevance of the tasks completed in class to the students' daily lives and proceed to answer questions that the students have regarding the task introduced.
Another important part of the general cooperative learning model is to name, teach, and practice targeted social skills. Targeted social skills mean that not only will the students be using the social learning theory, but they will also be specifically instructed by their teacher on what social skill they'll be practicing and how they'll be doing it. So for example, a teacher might tell the students that they're going to work on active listening, but then the teacher will also model exactly what active listening looks like and will also give the students time to practice it and to critique them on how their active listening skills are developing. Often the direct instruction model is used to practice these skills. However, there are lots and lots of different ways to do it. You can also use technology to work on these skills, such as watching videos of good and bad practices in active listening.
Up next in the general cooperative learning model, we have step 3, implement the lesson and monitor student interaction. Students engage in the learning tasks and practice targeted social skills. Students take advantage of the resources provided and seek assistance when needed. The teacher oversees this and the group learning process. The teacher responds to learner needs as they arise, and the teacher might also reinforce rules and conduct formative evaluation.
Hey guys, I'm Savvy, the 4th step guy, and it's nice to meet you. Are you ready to learn about the 4th step of the general cooperative learning model? Of course you are, because it's so cool. And I'm so cool for wearing my hat backwards and sitting in this chair backwards. And you're so cool too, because you want to learn about this step. So let's get started. When you're at the end of a school day, have you ever had a teacher have the class do a fun or maybe even sort of challenging activity that made you remember and have to think about what you learned that day? You have? Well, then your teacher was probably doing something that we like to call in the general cooperative learning model business, summarizing your learning. Now, summarizing your learning is when a teacher engages their students in activities that allow them to summarize or otherwise develop closure regarding what they have learned from the lesson. The goal is to challenge students to process what they have learned and to make a connection between what you knew about the subject beforehand and what you knew after. And what's super cool is that you can even do this step on your electronic devices. I said that. It's awesome. Your teacher could have you do something like make a podcast to keep track of what you've learned. Or they could even have you film a video. Or wow, they could even have you create your own blog talking about the subject. The possibilities for creativity in this step are endless. But unfortunately, our time to talk about it is not. So, in summary, the 4th step to the general cooperative learning model is a way for students to exercise their metacognition in creative and effective ways. Thanks for stopping by.
Hi friends, it's Sid the Science Kid here, and I'll be teaching Step 5. So, what is Step 5, you ask? Well, Step 5 is measuring group and individual accountability. Have you ever done a group project where one person doesn't really do their part of the assignment and kind of brings down the good vibes? Well, this step really lets your teacher know the group dynamic happening. Basically, this step is a quick survey or reflection given to you and your group mates. With this survey or reflection in hand, You will evaluate the amount of the effort you and your group mates put in individually. Doing this helps your teacher also know how to assess your personal and group performance/functionality. Thanks, friends.
The sixth and final step of the general cooperative model is to assess the learning. This is done by measuring learning goals with summative assessments such as tests or quizzes, or alternative assignments such as oral presentations or projects. This determines whether the goals are being met or not.
And now let's review the 6 steps again. Step 1, introduce the task.
Step 2, name, teach, and practice targeted social skills.
Step 3, implement the lesson and monitor student interaction.
Step 4, summarize your learning.
Step 5, measure group and individual accountability.
Step 6, assess learning.
Now you might be asking yourself, why are we using an umbrella today? Well, let me tell you. Now that you understand the general cooperative learning model, you probably understand that it's the foundational overarching umbrella of all of the other cooperative learning models. The general cooperative learning model is so cool because it promotes positive social interaction and promotes inclusivity in the classroom. Thanks for joining us today. Bye!
Okay.